Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. It's traditional around this time of year, and has been so for several years now, that we play How Many Spikes Can You Count on My Dendrobium Jenkinsii? Now, I don't want to ask you to play that game yet, but this is going to be difficult. If you look down in there, that's one. Now, as I say, I'm not going to try and find them all, but I did see a few today. They're very difficult to spot because your eyes just won't focus on individual bulbs because your eyes just want to focus on the whole plant. There's one there, the end of my finger, just there, I'm touching it. So that's another one. There's one down in there, that one's quite a large one. There's another one there. So we won't play How Many Can You Count yet because they've only just started. But we saw that the Lindleyi had some blooms in the, that was in the project plants. So they're both starting their spikes at the same time. Now last year that didn't happen. The Lindleyi was a new plant and it bloomed a lot later than the Jenkinsii. So we have buds there. And another plant we looked at recently, it would have been when I was watering. So that was whenever it was, Sunday, yeah, when I filmed watering. And we looked at this black hair type and we turned it over and I said that's Coriniferum, and who knows, when it gets its terminal leaf on that big cane, it may decide to bloom. Well, there's a bud in there, and blow me, there's a bud on the other two spikes as well. Now they've appeared fast, so this will not only be a first time blooming, it's blooming on two canes I never expected to bloom, but straight out of the apex. And this could be a sheath. I don't know anything about this plant. That could be a sheath with multiple buds inside, but it might not be. It might be a single bud. But that we will have to wait and see. Anyway, yeah, that was a surprise. So, and that's a good surprise. We like those sort of surprises. Now I'm going to have to put the camera down because the next plant I want to show you I need to get out, and it's buried at the moment. And it's a job to get far enough away to get this whole plant in. It is a very large plant, and this is absolutely smothered in the start of the spikes, and yet when you look at it you can't see any, and yet they're all over the place, but they've only just started. They are tiny, yeah, and they're on old canes, they're on new canes, they're all over the place. So I think we are going to have quite a blooming, and they've only just started. Once they start they really sort of take off. Look down here, there's two quite long ones on that cane, one on the cane behind. So there are a lot in many places, new canes and old. There's going to be far less up the top here because obviously these are the newest canes. They're immature canes at the moment despite being 2 foot long, but they're last year's growths basically. But yeah, it's good to see the buds on this. I always look forward to this blooming. It is quite a show, and I can probably see a couple of dozen buds in various places. Well, they're spikes. I won't call them buds. They're spikes. They will elongate and then get multiple blooms per spike. They have several on each particular spike. So yeah, that was a surprise. I didn't expect to see those. The trouble is, when I lost my, when my laptop crashed and had to go back and be refurbished effectively, I lost a lot of data. And a lot of the data I lost was the start of blooming and end of blooming history that I keep for the plants. So I've had to start it again. So I don't know when this last bloomed. I mean, I know it's bloomed every year since I've had it, but I don't know what time of year, when the first blooms open. So I'm having to recreate that history, which is it's a pain to say the least. But anyway, some of these little spikes are starting to elongate. So we should see some blooms down the line on that in the not too distant future. And the last one for today, this one's opened. This is Dendrobium aphyllum. Now I'm going to see if I can touch the screen so that I can go in nice and close. You've got two things to look at on these blooms. You've got the back of the blooms, which has, hang on, let me just touch a bloom, see if I can get this thing to sharp focus. You've got the colour on the rear of the blooms. That's not on the front, it's on the back of the blooms, and it is an absolute gorgeous delicate pink, slightly stripy and veiny, but from a distance it just gives an overall pink colour. And then when you come around the front, hang on, let's touch a different one, we get the patterning on the lip, which is on the outside. Is that focusing or not? I can't see. Possibly. I really can't see. Well, hopefully it is. Really, really delicate veining on the outside of the lip. And unusual, the lip is a difficult colour to describe when the blooms are new. It will turn white effectively, but when the blooms are brand shiny new, it's got a hint of green, a greeny creamy colour, which the camera probably won't do justice to. But I thought I'd catch this just as the blooms open. There's still quite a few buds to go up here, hiding away behind the leaves. Buds virtually the whole length of that cane this time round. So yeah, it's a nice show. I've seen some specimen plants, you know, that have got like 30 canes in full bloom. You know, absolutely stunning. And these plants can grow into massive plants. And because they're just over annually deciduous, so they don't lose their leaves in a year. They lose them in about a year and a third, towards a year and a half, because obviously this is last year's canes. The leaves are still on there. I mean, they're starting to go. You know, they won't be there too much longer, you know, but nonetheless they are still there, you know, and well, there we go. So that one's just opened as well. Literally, once they start to open, they will all open at roughly the same time. You can see one's down the bottom here, not quite open. One's in the middle, not quite open. One's at the top, not quite open. But then there are some open over the length of the cane as well, right down to the end. So they burst out all at once. You get a lot of things that are over the length of the cane tend to open towards the base of the cane or the top of the cane first, and then move, you know, away from that point, and the rest of the buds open. But this one, they all open together. So yeah, very, very attractive blooms. Very attractive. And some lovely patterning in places. So there we go. That's it for today then, and see you next time.